What's up, BookTube? Sandy Golson back here with the rapid fire BookTube tag that I'm actually excited to jump into because I think these are going to be very interesting. There's a whole bunch of them here, so hang tight with me here as I run through some of these. I'm going to keep the handy dandy phone right here so I can keep track and hopefully keep a nice pace going on here. Again, rapid fire BookTube tag questions here. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Ebook or physical book? I go back and forth on this. I prefer holding the physical book, but I have to admit the ebook I read a lot faster, and I think my retention with the ebook is better than I thought. But I must admit, there's something that's just frankly cooler about a physical copy of a book that you can hold in your hands, you can bookmark, you can dog ear, versus the Kindle book, which you can sort of bookmark and highlight in a digital way. But there's just something special about opening the package and seeing that new book or that used book that you ordered, or going to a bookstore and picking up a physical copy of a book. Paperback or hardback? Hardback for me, for sure. Online or in bookstore shopping? I would much rather be in bookstore shopping, because in bookstore shopping, I can go in there and I can just lose myself in the bookstore. I could end up being in there for hours and just not even realize what's going on. Trilogies or series? I don't really have a preference. I think a good series that holds your attention is great. So I'll say a series. Heroes or villains? I like probably villains, because I think villains tend to be a little bit more complex in how they're composed. There's usually like a backstory there. Not always the case, but typically there is. So I would say probably villains. Heroes kind of sometimes end up being kind of maybe a little bit more stereotypical. I mean, both heroes and villains can be stereotypical, but sometimes heroes, I think, tend to be a little bit more stereotypical. A book you want everyone to read? I would say, boy, there's a lot of those. I would say American Dirt. If I'm looking at books this year, I would say American Dirt, mainly because a lot of people tell you not to read it, and that to me is usually a sign that you probably should read it. And I think it's important to read books that are controversial, books that are banned. I think it's important to read those types of books, and I've read a bunch of them in my lifetime. So I would definitely encourage you to make your own decisions about books rather than to rely on someone else's decision about whether or not you should or shouldn't read a book. Recommend an underrated book. An underrated book. I'm trying to think of what's an underrated book. I could probably look behind me. And find one. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways I could go with it. I'm gonna go with books that I've read this year. And Fantastic Land by Mike Bakoven was a pretty underrated book that I didn't hear a lot of people talking about. It's gory, don't get me wrong. It's like a amusement park version of Lord of the Flies. So it was kind of a little bit gory and scary in some ways, but actually it was kind of an engrossing book to read it from start to finish. So I would say Fantastic Land by Mike Bakoven. Let's see, almost lost my space here. The last book that you finished, that would be Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. The last book that you bought, The Energy Bus by John Gordon. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? Ha! That's a good one. That is a good question. Oh, it was a pizza coupon from a fast food pizza restaurant. It was handy, so I used it. Another one that I used that I haven't used recently, but one was a press pass that I used to get into athletic events. That was kind of one that I used once before too. Let's see. Used books, yes or no? Yes, absolutely. Whether you Goodwill or wherever you go, used books, definitely. Top 3 favorite genres. I would say mystery thriller for me. I do like horror. And I do like some certain types of romance books for sure. So I would say those are the ones that kind of jump off the top of my head. Borrow or buy? Buy. I don't like borrowing because I'm a slow reader. Characters or plot? I'm definitely character driven. Long or short books? I prefer short. Long books you just usually just drag on and are usually kind of repetitive and just way too much. Long or short chapters? Definitely short chapters. Short chapters make you feel like you're making progress as you go along. Name the first 3 books you think of. Books that make you laugh or cry. I'm not an emotional person, so I'm going to punt on that one. Let's see. Our world or fictional worlds? Fictional worlds are kind of good because you can always go into the fictional world and you can always come back out when you get tired of it. Audiobooks, yes or no? Yes. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Very rarely, actually. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations? I'm guessing they're asking me if I like those. Yes, even though obviously the book tends to be better than the movies and almost always better than the TV adaptations. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book? Ooh, that's a good one. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book? I would say probably The Godfather. The Godfather, the movie, was just outstanding. The book was good too, and the book has more depth and it tells you things that went on behind the scenes that you didn't know about. But I would say the movie was just superb, and I would say the movie's just without a doubt a classic. Let's see. And lastly, series or standalones? I tend to read more standalone books, and I'm trying to get myself a little bit more motivated to read more series. So I'm hoping that I'll move in that direction, and I'm starting to embrace that here a little bit more. I think the last series I really read was probably Hunger Games. And I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes this year, the latest entry in the Hunger Games series. So that was one that I read. So I would say that's probably the last true series that I've read start to finish. And I enjoyed it. I like Hunger Games. I think it's a really good series. So I know some people are a little bit down on The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I mean, it was nice. It was kind of nice to keep the series going. So I enjoyed it. It might not have been my first choice of a character to flesh out a little bit, but you know, Suzanne Collins, it's her series. She can do whatever she wants. Okay, so that's the rapid fire book tag questions. Had a lot of fun with this. Some of them probably were not rapid fire answers because I probably blew them out in terms of the answers probably more than I should have, but at the same time I had fun with it. So if you like this video, please consider hitting the like button. If you're interested in BookTube and AuthorTube content, please consider hitting the subscribe button for this channel, bell button for notifications, and stay with me on this BookTube and AuthorTube journey.